Hey everybody, I'm Evan, and here we are back with our top 100 games of all time. And I'm joined, as usual, by my friend, Lizzy.
Hi everyone! Thank you for having me on again.
Yes, absolutely. I say it every week, but we're having a great time doing this. Okay, so my list this week has 8 games that were on it in 2018. So a lot of repeat. I know, a lot of repeat good games there. What about you?
I have some really great games. None showed up in my 2021 list, although one was on Kitty's 2021 list.
Interesting. So that would mean it actually has improved for you since 2021.
We'll get to that.
Okay, all right. So, yeah, I guess let's get to it right now.
Okay.
What do you got?
So my number 60 is a 2-player only game based on a multiplayer game. It has an Egyptian theme where you're set collecting, and the main meat of the game is in this center board with a little ankh that as you grab a tile, you have to turn it to where it shows on that tile which way to point. So you know what game it is already.
I do.
So this one I actually got because I wanted to play it with you. So it is...
Is that right?
Yeah. We were going through discussing what to play, and you had this game, I didn't, and it sounded interesting. But it is Sobek 2 players, and it is so awesome because when you do take that tile, you have to decide, do I want to take a decent tile for me, but when I point it, it'll point at an awesome tile for you. Yep. Or I could take this alright tile, or even better, I could play this character, which then makes you do a tile which will point to an awesome one for me.
Yeah. That is a really clever game. I do like that game. However, it is number 131 on my list.
Oh no!
So it is not. I know it is not in the top 100. But
that is heartbreaking.
I know. I feel a little bad about that because that is a great game that we have enjoyed playing together.
It is. Okay, but that is my number 60. So Beck 2 players. Oh, and it came out in 2021.
Yep, that is a great game. Not top 100 worthy for me for some reason, but
Well,
there's only 100 spaces.
Exactly.
Okay, so my number 60 was number 36 in 2018. And this is a very simple tile laying game called Lanterns: The Harvest Festival. It's a basic tile laying game where you have a hand of tiles that have fireworks on like all 4 sides, and on your turn you place one. And then based on how you match them up and how they're pointing at other players, you get these lantern cards. And then you turn those lantern cards in for points. And that's basically it. The cleverness comes in with the different, how you angle the tiles and what you're giving to yourself and other players. But this is a game that just hits the spot for me when I want something that's quick and casual and tile laying, because I do like tile laying. So it's, over the years, it's one of those that I've gone back to many, many times. There is an expansion. We've messed a little bit with the stuff in there that kind of, adds some other stuff, but I like the base game simplicity more than with the expansion. And it's also a beautiful game, too.
Agree. It is.
Yeah, so...
I also really like where, because you're getting something on every player's turn, they can help you be achieving your goals. I really like that.
Inadvertently aspect. Sometimes, yeah. Yeah. And one of the funniest things is when those lantern cards start running out, and then you start giving people cards that they can't take, and that always makes me laugh. But there's a little bit of meanness in there.
A little bit.
But yeah, that's my number 60. Lanterns: The Harvest Festival, a classic in my opinion.
I agree. So my number 59 came out in 2017. It is an area control game where you are the virus. You're in a person's body, and you have different sections. It's actually part of a Dice Tower Essentials. And you know what game it is, don't you?
Yes, yeah, I do.
So it is called Viral. And you have cards that you play. You play an area of the body along with the card that gives you the action that you can do, and you try to get your viruses out while trying to take out other people's viruses and earn some points. You do get a little bit of new cards to play, so you can get some new abilities, but it's not a deck builder game. It's an area control game with a slight deck addition.
Sure. I never played that, actually. But it's got such a fun and unique theme that, I would play it.
And very cutesy artwork.
Yeah, like silly. Like, even though it's like viruses attacking a person's body, it's the artwork's super silly, yeah. Cool. That's, your number 59.
Yes.
Okay, so my number 59 was number 20 in 2018. And this is a game from Red Raven Games called Above and Below. This is, it was kind of maybe, people always called it a storytelling or story-like type game, but at its heart, it's more of a resource gathering and building game with a little bit of story in there. So basically, you are gathering resources to build these buildings for points, but every once in a while you get to go out and explore, and then there's a book of stories where something happens, and you get to make a decision, and you hopefully can pass whichever decision you've made. When it's not hard because you can spend resources or health or whatever it is to complete that. But then you get something, you go back up, build more cards. There's a limited number of rounds. It always feels like there's not enough, which kind of, I think, increases the tension of I need to get this stuff done as soon as possible. That was that's my game. Have you ever played Above and Below?
I have not.
Okay, all right. I don't. Okay. But I enjoy it. It's one of those where there's not scenarios, so you just sit down, play one game, have some funny stories, hire some workers or whatever it is, and have a good time. So that's my number 59, Above and Below.
It does sound like an interesting game, and the artwork's beautiful. I just
sure
never pulled the trigger on getting it. Nor the near and far.
Okay. Sorry. It's fun.
So my 58 came out in 2024. So very recently. It is from Stonemaier Games. Okay. And it is all about collecting a specific type of thing, and you draft it from a pool, and you take turns drafting it, and then you have it instead of 6, and then it's like an I cut you choose game after that, where you put them in different groups, and someone will take one, and then you'll keep one, and then for some reason you never get anything taken, you then get both your groups, although I'm not quite sure how that would happen. But there's that. It's called Stamp Swap.
It's a bit of a tongue twister, but yes. Yep.
Yeah. So as a kid, I always loved collecting stamps. So this was a great theme for me. When my grandpa died, I actually got his stamp collection.
Nice. Cool.
Still have it, and it's just
cool.
This beautiful, lots of stamps. And so having a theme that you're displaying stamps and gathering them just really spoke to me. And then I really like I Cut You Choose. So it's just a whole lot of amazingness in one box. We have that game. We've played it. We've only played it once, unfortunately. And I know we really liked it when we played it. We just have not got back to it yet. So it is not on my list, but I agree that it is a fun game. Well, thank you.
So good choice. It's one I need to play more. So hopefully soon. Okay, so my number 58 is a party game, a drawing party game, and that is called Monstrosity. This is a game I know. This is a game I champion. So basically, one person witnesses seeing like some sort of bizarre creature, like really weird looking. And then that person gets like 15 seconds to look at it, study it. They flip the card over, and then they get 10 or 15 seconds to describe it to every other player, and those other players have to then sketch it with on a little dry erase board. So, that you can't use hand gestures. You just have to talk and describe what weird creature you just saw. And like I said, these things are weird. And there's a huge deck. I know there's another version coming soon with even more weird art and weird creatures. Just the craziest things you've ever seen that don't make any sense sometimes, and you have to try to very quickly describe that. So then when that time is done, everyone gets to show what they drew, and then whichever they think is closest or whatever to the picture, you get points. But it's basically the fun is trying to draw a picture quickly of what weird thing that someone just described, quickly from their memory. And even though you looked at it 15 seconds ago, suddenly you've forgotten half of what this thing looked like. And it's a great fun time. I really, really enjoyed this game.
It definitely sounds like a hoot.
It is. It always is. So yeah, that's why it's my number 58. Monstrosity.
Okay. So my number 57 came out in 2014. It is another Dice Tower Essential. It is an abstract game where you have 5 pawns, 4 small and 1 big, and your goal is to either eliminate all the other players' pawns or get your big guy into their big guy's home start. And what's really cool is you have 2 cards in front of you. You'll play one, and it tells you exactly how you can move. And then you'll swap it with the other card that's outside. And then you have 2 new cards, and then they'll play one of their 2 cards and take that card that you just swapped it for. You know what game this is, don't you?
Yes. It is.
So it is called Onitama. Definitely, it's a great abstract game. When it first came out, I always said that I would have loved to play it with my mom because she always wanted to play chess, but in chess, you have to know that the little horsey dude moves the little way the little horsey dude moves. Yeah. And she just could not keep that. But having a card that tells you exactly how something would have been awesome. And then I love how this one could win you the game, but you have to be very careful about when you play it, because if you give it to the other player, then you're giving them the chance to win the game. And just how you use the different cards is just really intriguing.
Yep. Yes. I think this is an excellent game.
Ooh.
I enjoyed this game quite a bit. Very good pick.
Well, thank you.
What year did that come out?
2014.
I can't believe it's that old. I didn't realize. We probably have had it almost that long. So that's a long time.
Yeah, it's one that I got relatively early into my gaming career.
Yeah, that's a great pick. I approve of that pick.
Oh, I wonder how far it's on your list.
I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. Okay, so my number 57 was number 3 in 2018.
Wow.
3. And you just mentioned this game just a minute ago when I was talking about one of my games, and that is Near and Far. Funny that these were so close to each other. So it's a similar game in the feel, but it's different because this has a book where you're going out to explore and is creating a connected story over the course of a campaign. I know you can play it single games, and I've never actually done that because then you're losing the story element. That wouldn't be fun. But anyway, basically, yeah, it's similar to Above and Below, where you have a character and you're gaining like helpers, and however there's a town where you kind of do a worker placement kind of thing to gather resources or buy items that will help you on your journey in this book that goes from one end to the other, and you're experiencing a story. It can be slightly different every time based on there's these little book tokens that are the story spots, and they're not all out every time. We've played through the main campaign 1.5 times and the character campaign once. So the reason I think it fell is just because it's a great game and it's fun to play, but I don't know how often at this point we're going to go back to it. However, I don't want it to leave the collection. You know what I mean? Because it's that it's that close to me, because it was my number 3. So 57 is still pretty dang respectable, and maybe someday we will kind of reset the campaign and go through it one more time, because it is a fun time. And same with Above and Below. The art is beautiful, and it just feels like a smooth gaming experience. Doing what you got to do and experiencing this fun story. So yeah, that's my number 57, Near and Far. I assume you haven't ever played Near and Far either, correct? Yeah. Okay.
So it's Above and Below, Near and Far. Is there a third one, or is it?
There is. The third one is called Now or Never.
Yeah.
And so I didn't like that one as much. It was fun. Grayson, I think, liked it more than I did. It's still in the collection right now, but I don't know how much longer it will be, to be honest.
Wow. Okay.
So,
well, maybe Grayson could take it with him when he eventually moves out.
You're assuming he's going to move out.
It might not be till he's 35, but
yeah, well,
hopefully not that long.
Anyway, yeah, that was, if I didn't already say, that was my number 57, Near and Far.
All right.
All right, what do you got?
Okay, so my number 56 came out in 2016. It's a game where you have your blocks that you will be putting out on these ships to try to go to different areas, and the different areas do different things. Like this one, you might get cards. Well, this one you try to build pyramids, and down here you try to build this wall. And like the pyramids, you get points when you place them, versus the wall, you get points based on the end of the round when you're looking down. Do you know what game it is yet?
Yeah, I believe so, yes.
It is called Emotep.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, so another Egyptian-themed game. I really like this theme, and just the way it plays out is really interesting. And you can have so much blocks. So sometimes it's useful when you need to gather blocks to do so, but then sometimes you only have one spot, so you don't really want to do that action. Versus interesting, you can put your personal blocks out and then move them, but you can move other people's ships too, so you can move it to a spot that doesn't get them anything, because there's also area control at the very bottom that if they're separated, they get nothing. Well, 1 point.
Yeah, I did hear there was a bit of meanness in this game.
Little bit.
Yeah. I've never played that, and it's funny because when you were talking about Sobek 2 players, I thought maybe you were talking about Emotep Duel at first. Like, that my mind went there first. But I never played it. I've never played the dual version. I think it's a game I would like, because it's a Phil Walker Harding game, and I like Phil Walker Harding games. This is just one I've never had the opportunity to play.
Have you gotten Emotep the Duel?
No.
Oh. Well, I don't
own or have.
We could bring it up for Grand Con.
Yeah, sure, okay. Maybe. All right. Good pick, and it's definitely a game I think I would enjoy based on the designer's other games. Okay. So my number 56 was number 16 in 2018. And this is another tile laying game, sort of game, but it's done bingo style, and that is Karuba.
Okay.
Yes. So basically, there's like this map board with people on one side and temples on the other side, and the players kind of cooperatively place where they are, so everyone has the same starting board. And then there's a bunch of tile spots in the middle, and one person flips over a tile. Everyone has to place that tile, and you either place the tile or discard the tile to move a person that many spaces. So you want to create like a path from the blue adventurer to the blue temple. Over a limited number of turns. And then there's like gold pieces and gems to pick up along the way that are also points. But the faster you get to those temples, the more points you're going to get for them. And you can honestly play this an unlimited number of players. We have 2 copies, so we in one box, so we can actually play up to 8 players. And we have played pretty close to that, I think, at some point, and it works great. It's a super fun game of just trying to build a path and get some points. And it's good. It's good. I like it a lot. It's one I recommend a lot of times to like newer-ish gamers or non-hobby-ish gamers, because it's pretty simple to understand.
It is.
But yeah, that's my number 56, Karuba.
Yeah, that is one that I've not played, but it's
Is
one
that right?
I would love to play. It's been on my
I think it's really fun. It's really fun. Yeah. I enjoy it a lot.
It's like every time I hear about it, it's just like, oh, that sounds so cool.
It is, and it's simple too. It works, it works really easily. So,
and something that
I highly
sounds
recommend
really awesome is like when you talk about discarding to move, like the pathways. The more pathways, the further you can move.
Correct. Right. So if you have a tile with 4 pathways on it, it opens up a lot of pathways if you place it, but you can move a guy 4 spaces. So you got to make that decision.
Yeah, and that just sounds so interesting on when do you throw it away versus keep it.
Yeah. Yep. And then usually halfway through the game you realize, I've made a mistake. This person is never going to be able to get to this temple.
Oh, no.
So, then you're never going to make it to all the temples anyway. So you got to kind of pick and choose which guys you're going to get to where. So, it worked great. I love it. It's a fantastic game.
It does sound really cool. Okay, so my number 55 came out in 2018. It is another Stonemaier games. It has a really long title, and it's about building up your castle. But it's not just your castle. It's also the castle of the person next to you and the person next to you. So you have 2 different castles that you're trying to build, and you already know what the game is.
Yes.
So between 2 castles of Mad King Ludwig.
Yep.
Whew, long. And then the expansion, Secrets and Soirees at the end of that. Very long title. But really great game. Beautiful pieces. The artwork is awesome. And the interesting concept of what do you take, where do you put it, and what do you pass is just really interesting. So, I really enjoy it.
Yeah, that is not a game you can play 2 players, right? Is there like a 2-player variant? Because you want to have as many as possible.
I remember there being there's a solo player variant even.
Okay.
I believe
Which sounds weird, because I feel like the fun in that game would be all the player interaction. Not interaction,
yeah, it's definitely better with more.
Yeah, I've never played it, and it's funny because this is it's a combination game. They slam 2 games together. Mad Ludwig, Castles of Mad King Ludwig, and Between Two Cities.
Yeah,
it made one game. So I don't know. I agree. I've seen the video on your channel, because wasn't there like a updated version that came out not too long ago? Like a revised edition or something?
I know there's a Between Two Cities Essentials edition. But we did play Between Two Castles I don't know if we actually did a recording of the remote play, because drafting tiles is a bit interesting for remote. It's doable, but it takes a little bit longer.
I swear you have a video on this.
I might be a solo playthrough. That might be the one.
Either way, I remember watching that. I remember looking at it, and this is a game I think I would really enjoy, because the concept sounds interesting.
The one mistake we made was we forgot that the floor has to be the base of the castle, so you can't have like an outlook or anything. It has to be building up, and so we had some outlooks. So we had a bedroom above nothing on some of them. But yeah, I think you would really enjoy it too.
I think so too. I think so too, because that concept sounds fascinating. All right. So my number 55 is it's a newer-ish game, and it's a drafting game, and it might be my favorite drafting game, and that is called Comic Hunters. This is a game that was very hard to get for a number of years, and knowing me, I got it. And I brought it to every convention, and I showed it to as many people as I could, and people fell in love with it. And eventually, I believe last year, it got picked up for distribution by Arcane Wonders / Dice Tower Essentials, whatever it is. But I know a lot of people have complained about the quality of the components in that one. Oh. But aside from that, this is a game where you are a comic book collector. And what do you know? I was a comic book collector. So this really speaks to me. And you do that through a series of 4 different drafts. There's the normal pick and pass draft. There is the type of draft where you have to build rows. You can either take a row or build a row. There is an interesting like grid sort of draft where you move cards around and take like rows or columns based on like the heroes that are on those comics. And then there's like an auction type draft. And the fun part is once you get all these cards in your hand, well, now you have to pay for those cards. So everything has a value, and then you can flip the cards over to use them for money, based on the rarity of the comic or how old the comic is. So you have to decide which ones do I keep and which ones do I use to spend to keep those. And I think that's what makes this game so fun. And then you're just trying to get like sets of different heroes or like different like number ones or first appearances, that sort of thing, whatever's going to score you the most points. And that's basically the whole game. Drafts, do a bunch of different drafts, a couple of times each, and just try to get the most points and have the best comic book collection. Have I not showed you this game? Have you not played this game?
I have not played this game, but it does sound really interesting.
Even if you're not into comic books, I mean, you've seen all these characters in the movies these days, right? So you know who these people are. But just the mechanics of these drafts and, trying to decide which ones to keep and which ones to spend to keep them is just really fun. And it works really well. It's unfortunate there was some complaints about the American printing of it, but I don't know that the Brazilian printing has that high quality components either. But it doesn't matter. It's a fun game. My 55 Comic Hunters.
Sounds good. Maybe Grand Con we can actually play that one.
Yeah, I would bring that for sure. They probably have a copy of the new one in their library.
Oh, so. Yeah, maybe. Maybe it would be in their play to win section.
Oh, maybe.
Ooh, that'd be cool. Okay, so my number 54 came out in 2023. This is the one that I'm not sure if you remember it, but it was on Kitty's top 10 games of all times in 2021. I just said it came out in 2023, right? So I gave her a little bit of a hard time because it was not even released yet.
Yeah, I know what it is. I know.
Okay. So this has 22 ratings on Board Game Geek with an average of 8.2.
Yeah.
So the people have played it, love it, but it's not even ranking on there yet. So this is definitely the most unique one. What it is you are a fleet captain of this ship, and you're going around and trying to claim islands and trying to fight off the people, which to claim more islands, you have to have a flag of your enemy to, turn into your own flag. So you have to attack the others. But it's really cool because at the beginning of the game, you buy ships. And then you don't get any more reinforcements. So the ships that you get, if you pick horribly, well, you're stuck with it. And then it's called Old Salts, for people who don't know.
Yep.
But you can turn your ships in different ways because if you shoot out the side of the ship, you get more chances to hit your enemies, but then they have a chance to hit you back. So do you go where you have less chance, but you have more defense, or do you open yourself up to that opportunity for the higher chance of hurting them? And then if a ship gets destroyed, it causes debris in the waters that you then have to swim through, or, ship through. And then there's also these currents that one is active every round, and they help speed up the shipping.
Yeah, so that game is a game that has been championed on your channel for many, many years. But I don't know what happened, right? I don't maybe the Kickstarter didn't do so well, but they got it out, and it got printed. But man, that's a game that nobody's ever heard of.
The Game Boy Geek covered it.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah, but it's the Hungry Gamers actually just covered it a month ago. So I'm maybe it's starting to pick up. But I'm
it must still be available then. Oh, nice. It must still be out there, available to purchase from somewhere.
Yeah, I mean the Kickstarter got funded, so we were able to get the games. If I had not played the game before the Kickstarter, I would have overlooked it.
Maybe that's it. That box cover isn't super exciting or something. It doesn't really draw you in, I guess, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it's and then the board, while it looks awesome and old timey, it doesn't like when you're passing through, it doesn't draw you in, but when you're in there, it makes perfect sense. Like that board should not have been anything else, but it doesn't help bring new people in.
That's cool. I'm glad that's on your list because that's a weird, obscure game that like nobody's ever heard of.
Yeah.
So,
but you've heard of it because you came to Kitty's rescue.
And I've seen many videos on your channel about it.
Yeah, there's a few.
But that's cool. I like that. I like that pick. Okay, so my number 54 was number 48 in 2018. Oh, so close-ish. So this is a game that actually has a sort of draft that is also in Comic Hunters, and I don't know if this sort of draft was originated in there, but you're drafting tiles instead of cards, and you're building a zoo, and that is called Zoolaretto. And this is a game that I love. This is a game I talk about all the time. So basically, it has the thing where you draw a tile from a bag, and you either you put it on a truck, or if you don't want to draw a tile, you take one of those trucks, and then the round is over for you. So you want to split up the trucks, is not make them as appealing to other people as like don't put everything they need on one truck. Try to split it up, but then also create a truck that you're gonna want. And then there's like stuff like coins and like stands, like food stands, and of course animals. So the idea is you want to fill your zoo full of animals. They have to all be the same animal in the same pen. And then there's male and female, so they'll have babies, and you want to fill that up. But then there's an overflow, so if you take too many, then they have to go to the overflow, and those are negative points, like a barn. And there's a ton of expansions for this. So, like, if there's, like, the zoo board, but then there's all this stuff all the way around the zoo board with people that can come into the zoo and all sorts of things. And it's a simple game. It's an old game. I think it was nominated for the Spiel des Jahres or whatever it is, years and years and years ago. But it's just a great game. It's simple, and you're building a zoo. I love it. Have you ever played Zoolaretto? You probably haven't.
I have not. It's one that always sounds interesting to me. It's just I haven't had the opportunity.
Yep. There's like a ton of promos with promo animals and stuff. Like there's so much stuff you can hunt down for this game. And recently, within the last year or two, we kind of threw everything together and played with all the expansions. And it's maybe a little bit overwrought, but it still worked. It was still fun. And I still really enjoy it. Right about the middle of my list. Zoolaretto, number 54.
Awesome. So my number 53 came out in 2010. It is a hidden movement game on both sides and from your teammates on your side. So you don't even know if you're on the same team. And what you do is you will just have this spiral notebook that has a map. You all turn to the same map and you move around. You could go to a silent sector or you could go to a noisy sector, and you have to draw a card where it either says no noise, or you could lie about where you're at, or you have to tell exactly where you're at. And the humans are trying to get to escape pods while the aliens are trying to kill the humans. Do you know what it's called?
I think so.
Yeah,
I believe so.
Escape from Aliens in Outer Space.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's a very dark box cover. So,
yeah.
But it has like an interesting flip, and then I really like everyone having their own little flip things, and then there's just like a deck of cards, and of course your thing, which may or may not have a power on it if you play with that variant or not. So the first time I played this with my husband, we were both aliens. He didn't know it at the time, and then we were playing against one human. So I move and do my thing. He goes and attacks right off rip, which you can only attack by revealing yourself to be an alien. And then he chooses the exact spot I'm at because he knows exactly where I'm at, because that's where I am. But see, the thing is no human could have gotten there in one turn. So it would have been impossible for me as a human to get there, and he still attacked that spot. And he got me. He killed me. So I'm going, you just made it harder on yourself to win.
What'd you do?
Yeah,
that's fun.
But it's a game of cat and mouse where no one knows for sure where anyone else is at unless you're my husband and just want to kill your teammate.
Oh, you didn't do it on purpose.
it was funny, but it was just like, why? But it's really cool. And then when you do get to an escape pod as a human, you flip a card and it may or may not be a working escape pod. Most of them are, but there's one dud.
Okay. Ooh. That's funny. This is a game that 2010, man. Yeah, I've heard about this game for years and years and years, right? And it looks. I don't want to say it looks bad, but it looks, it looks simple, like like the art and the cover and all that stuff. But I would definitely like to try this game because I've only heard really good things about it.
It's one that sat on my shelf of shame specifically for that reason, because it is so dark and this is all the game is.
Right. Yep.
This doesn't sound like it'd be good. But the gameplay is really in those trying to figure out where everybody else is. And are you a human or are you another alien? Because I know I'm an alien, but I don't know about you. So I know you're there. I'm pretty sure you're there, but do I want to kill you?
That's great. That's fun. I think that sounds like a fun game to me. Okay, so my number 53 was 17 in 2018. So a bit of a drop, but not because of the quality of the game. And this is another game that you just mentioned. Maybe it was. Maybe you mentioned it because it was on your list in this section.
Ooh.
Do you have a guess?
Okay, so it was on your list in 2018.
Yeah.
So, Onitama.
Yeah, it's Onitama. It's funny. So we were close. Hey, we were real close to having this at the same number.
Very.
So you basically already talked about this. It's basically chess distilled down to a couple of cards with a couple of different ways to move. And that's why it's so good, because it plays generally pretty quickly. Somebody's going to make a mistake at some point and open themselves up for like an attack that they didn't notice, but just the way everything is so open, like you can see how they can move, you can see how you can move, and you can see how how they can move next time. So you have to take all of that into account, which is not a lot. It's only like a few things, but it's great. I love it. A lot of times when we play it, we'll play it like 3 times in a row. I know there are some expansions. We don't have any of the expansions that add more figures, because I think there's a couple of those. Yeah. But we've tracked down a bunch of the promo cards, and there's one expansion that's just more cards, just for more variety. Shuffle it up, see what we get. Sometimes the movement is weird, where it's all kind of moving in one direction, or it makes it a little harder based on the movements. But Onitama, that's a fantastic game. I
agree.
Thoroughly enjoy it. Because it was your number. What was it? It was your number 58. Is that
57.
Right? 57.
And
Okay.
53,
Yeah. And by 53.
So very near miss.
Super close. Yep. Great. I love it.
Okay.
All right.
So my number 52 is another underrated game that came out in 2015. It is a game about making a scented product that you can go and sell. So you wake up in a different order, and you get to choose the order based on who's further behind, and whoever's first in order gets to do less actions, but they get to go first, and you grab these dice, or maybe these raindrops, to be able to make it so you can re-roll the dice. And then you roll the dice to try to make different sections of a bottle, so that way you can sell to the customer a completed perfume. And it's called Perfume.
Huh, okay. Is that by Queen? Is that a Queen game?
It is a Queen game.
Okay.
And there's an expansion for it, which is impossible to find. So it's just more dice, but with ones that you get to keep. So I just got dice off of online and made my own homebrew. But what's funny is the very first time we played this, I got 2 major rules wrong.
Oh, nice.
Like,
it happens.
And it's great for 3 players, when you are drawing the dice and rolling on your turn, you don't put the dice back into the pool. So the last player to go has less dice to choose from versus the actual rules. You use them, you roll them, you put them back. So that added some tension, and then you could only have one size of perfume at a time versus in
interesting.
The the actual rules is you can have as many as you want. So yeah, so we still play with those rules mistakes because we tried with the original rules and it just didn't have that tension.
Interesting.
So yeah, so my brain just made an oopsie and we liked it. And so it only works on 3 players for that dice thing because with 4 players there's not enough dice.
Okay. Yeah, so that's I guess I've seen this game before, but honestly I had no idea what that was about. So it has like a wake-up track, like Fresco then. Like,
yeah.
It's similar to that. I wonder which one came out first. I'm not really sure.
I don't know. Perfume came out in 2015. Yeah, I don't know if Fresco is on my list or not.
All right. Well, no spoilers, so.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I think I probably would like that game. But honestly, okay, so you know how when you buy a Queen game, they come with those little promo cards that advertise other games?
Yeah.
I know I've seen that many times in other Queen games. I don't know if they do that anymore, but a lot of the older ones did that. So that's where I've seen that.
And you could probably get it for like $5. That's how we got it. We got it as it was on sale, so we added it to make it so the free shipping happened.
Wow. Okay. Well, nice.
And it obviously worked out very well.
Yeah. Turns out it was a fun game. Cool. All right. So my number 52 was 51 in 2018.
So negligible
close.
Movement.
This is a small card game that is very similar to Love Letter, if you've played Love Letter.
I have.
But the theme of this one is okay, hold on. So the game is called Too Many Cinderellas. Okay?
Oh.
Have you heard of this?
I have not.
So this is it's similar to Love Letter, where you have 18 cards in the game, right? And they're all potential Cinderellas because the theme is the prince does not remember from the night before who Cinderella is. You can make your own assumptions why he doesn't remember this. So the goal is you have a hand of cards that have potential Cinderellas on it, but they also have and they have attributes like they have glasses or their color of their hair or they like cake or whatever. And then they also have on the bottom they have a potential rule. So you play in turn order. You play a total of 2 cards each. So I would play a card that says Cinderella does not have blonde hair. And then everyone can vote on that. If that rule, or that rumor, I guess it is accurate. And then you have tokens that say yes or no. But the trick is you only have 1 no token. Oh. So you can vote yes as many times as you want, but you can only... And as long as, as long as one person votes no, then that rule is not valid.
Makes sense.
So once that happens and all these like conditions are met, then everyone looks at their 2 cards remaining and sees if they have a potential Cinderella based on those rules that were established. And sometimes you don't. And if multiple people do, it'll be the one with the highest number. So like Love Letter, like the 1 is definitely the person who is Cinderella. And there's all sorts of people in between that are clearly not Cinderella as the numbers get greater, to the point where I think it's the 18th card is a cat.
Oh.
So it's hard to do, but kind of like a little rule between all of our group whenever we play this is if you can get the cat to be Cinderella, you have to try to do that because that's always the funniest outcome.
That would be kind of funny to have Cat be the Cinderella.
It's really hard to do because the cat, if you play it, it like reverses the order so that the highest number will win at the end, and it itself is the highest number. So it's tricky. It's real tricky to do, but I have seen it done, where the cat is Cinderella, and then you basically like Love Letter. You take a crystal if you win, shuffle it up, try it again, do it until a certain point count, and it's a really fun, like micro game, I guess you could call it. It's really fun. It's a great time, and it's clever. It's a clever trying to get the weirdest, like most clearly not Cinderella to be the Cinderella, and that's what I find fun about it.
That does sound fun. And that was Too Many Cinderellas.
Too Many Cinderellas. That's correct. That's what it's called.
Yeah. Add to cart.
I don't. It's funny because when I was looking it up recently, there was actually a reprint in Japan called Too Many Brides. But I think they may have changed some of the rules, so I'm not really sure. And it had like some anime artwork because this has a lot better artwork than standard anime artwork. It's got, I don't know. If you look at it, you'll see it, and it does not match the American release of the cover. Does not match the card art. But anyway, I'm rambling. Too Many Cinderellas. I highly recommend this game. It's my number 52.
Sounds good. Okay, so my number 51 also came out in 2024. And also came out from Stonemaier.
Ooh, okay.
This was a more complex version of... They obviously changed rules and it's not exactly the same, but one of their most popular games. And when I first heard about it, I actually thought it was like an April Fool's sort of announcement. Because I was like, is that really true? Because like, I first heard about it in Facebook and, you know...
Right.
Yeah. But it's a little bit more complex, and you get to be dragons, and you go around exploring your different caves, and then you get to go around on a track, which gives you special abilities. Which, do you know what it is yet?
Yes. Yeah, it's pretty obvious.
Wormspan, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it still has that same almost feel of Wingspan, but gives you a little bit more... And a little bit more to sink your teeth into while also changing it slightly. I actually was a fan of it being whimsical and not having actual facts on the cards. I liked having a book that had the interesting facts, which I know was, like, most people did not like that.
Yeah, I don't know why. It seems silly, but okay.
But it's beautiful artwork, too. And I love... like how you have to, in order to put a dragon down, you have to have an available section of that cave already excavated. So you already have to do work to make it so you can get a dragon in there, which is different than Wingspan, where you just can lay a card out as long as you have the eggs to pay for it. And of course, milk or, well, in Wingspan, birds or worms.
Yeah. That's cool. I've never actually played that. you know, I've never played that.
Yeah. Have you played the Fin
We were going to. I have not played that either.
Ooh.
I've played Wingspan.
Yes, and Wingspan
is
awesome. Yeah, we played the 2-player version of Wingspan, right? Asia, I think.
Yeah, the duet mode or whatever. Yeah. I think so. Yeah. I would like to try it. I'd like to try it sometime.
It's an interesting one. It gets a little bit meatier.
Yeah, yep. And I guess for people who are looking for that works then. It'll make those people happy, I guess.
Exactly.
And you do like the art? Because I know some people kind of didn't like the art. I don't know. I did hear some criticism about the art, but I don't.
Yeah,
it looked fine to me.
I personally love it. It's cute. It's whimsical. It's beautiful and stunning. So for me, it works.
Cool. I would like to try that sometime for sure. To see how just to see how it compares. Okay, this is the last one on this section of the list.
Yeah.
The last one of the bottom half of our top 100. So that's number 51. My number 51 is a pretty zen game. At least that's how it's referred to a lot of times. And that is Tokaido. Specifically, I have the deluxe edition. I don't have the super deluxe edition that has all the painted pieces and all the weird, like, really hard to find promos or whatever. But Tokaido is basically a game where you are walking down a road to get from one city to another, and this is the vacation you're taking in ancient Japan or whatever it is. China? Japan? See, I don't remember.
I thought it was Japan, but it might be...
I think it is. I think it's Japan.
It might be somewhere else. I'm
really
bad with geography.
I know. I should know that. But anyway, yeah, so then and along your way, you are stopping at hot springs. You are buying souvenirs. You are painting paintings. You are encountering other people on the road. And when you get to an inn, you have to stop. You can go as far as you want down that road to the next inn. But then the person last in line always is the person who has the next turn. So you can jump way ahead to get something that someone else might be looking for, but then you're not going to have a turn for a while. And I don't know. Sometimes that doesn't always work for me. I always try to go slow, but then I miss what I'm trying to do. But it's a very relaxing game, I guess. So sometimes it doesn't matter if I do bad. It's still kind of a fun experience to see, like, okay, I met all these people. I painted a couple of paintings. Had a good, relaxed in these hot springs. Got some points. Then the game's over. The characters all have like asymmetric abilities, and I don't know that they are 100% balanced. I think there are some that are better than others. I can't remember if it's in the rules or not, but usually we'll give a person 3 and pick one or whatever. So that way you don't get stuck with one that you don't want or doesn't seem as good on the surface. But yeah, Tokaido. Awesome. I am a big fan of that game.
It's one that I keep looking at and wanting to play. I'm going to get it whenever Stonemaier releases their copy.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. I forgot they're reprinting it. Do you know if they're changing the art or are they keeping the art the same?
I know they're doing their touch on the components.
Okay.
So it might change artwork too, but I know the main rules are staying the same. But they're adding in a solo version. So, if you want to get it, you can buy, just the solo pack from them. Okay. So it will have to be cross-compatible then.
Yeah, so, okay. But, yeah, that might just be a deck of cards that shows you how opponents would move then, I guess. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. I forgot about that reprint. Yeah, because I know the company, Funforge, had some issues.
Yeah, I don't really.
Aside from all that, it's a great game, and as long as you know what you're getting when you're going into it, where you can block off spots, but generally you're just kind of casually walking down a road. But there's a little bit of because the first person who gets to the inn gets to eat first. So based on how much money you have, the dishes cost different amounts. So whoever gets there last is stuck with eating whatever is there, and you want to eat as many different things on your trip as possible. So it might not always be there with the one you're looking for if you get there late.
Makes sense.
But then again, I don't feel like it matters. It's still fun. It's still just a fun experience.
You gotta take a nice journey.
Yes, exactly. A nice, relaxing journey. And I think the deluxe version I have even came with a soundtrack. It's probably available on YouTube or Spotify or whatever.
Probably at
just
this
a nice
point.
Nice little relaxing sound game. Tokaido, specifically the deluxe edition, because there's the expansions that add more characters and alternate things you can do in each spot. Not just one deck of cards. There's multiple things you can do on each spot, depending on what you want to do. But yeah, 51 Tokaido. Fun.
It's a
always
really
fun.
Awesome game. So that is the top 6%, so now we're going to be going into the top 5% of our games.
Yeah, and honestly, all of these games are great. I love all of these games on this list today. And somehow
even after this list, the top 200 games are all awesome games too.
Great. I love them all. So many games. I have such a good time playing them. It's hard to narrow these lists down. That's why things like, Sobek 2 players are so far down my list. There's just so many other good ones.
Yeah, and sometimes you're in the mood for certain things versus...
It's true. That's true. So these lists do fluctuate over time. As you can see, most of these fell from 2018, but they're still on the list. Yeah. So, they're still good.
And there's some new additions from games that you discovered along the way, or maybe you got a game from forever ago and really got back into it.
Yeah. Yep, totally. Okay, well, I guess that's going to wrap this episode up. Do you have anything else you want to say here?
Nah, I look forward to the next set.
All right, well, then thank you all for watching, and remember to check out the Long Distance Gamers channel. There will be a review for, I'm assuming, Old Salt going up.
There, you actually get 2 this time.
Ooh, exciting. I can't wait to see what they are. All right, well, I guess thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next one, everybody. Bye.